Hi, this is Lefty. I've been an archer for many years and an archery instructor for a couple years. I've been on a little quest to try to find the most durable arrow tip and the most durable arrow. My quest started with aluminum arrows. I used to only use aluminum arrows. They were great until any little impact would actually cause them to bend. You may not be able to tell it, but this arrow is actually bent. Even a little bend in an aluminum arrow makes it unusable, makes it fly bad, makes it easier to break next time you hit it. Aluminum arrows didn't work the best for me. So then I switched to the carbon arrows. Now the carbon arrows, they are a little lighter, fly a little faster. They don't bend like the aluminum arrow. Great little arrow. Except these are not durable at all. It took a very little hit and these things would shatter, these things would splinter. A lot of damage. I didn't even have to hit a rock or anything hard. I'd hit plastic chairs or I'd hit something small and it still caused my carbon arrows to break. So after doing a lot of research, I actually went with, you could probably tell by the pattern, the Full Metal Jacket. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get a good look at it, but the Full Metal Jacket is kind of a combination. It has an aluminum outside and a carbon inside. So it's kind of a mix of both. Doing a lot of research, this has been found to be one of the most durable arrows on the market today. Not only is it really extremely durable, has a good weight to it, which gives it better penetration, and it is a small diameter arrow, which means it is affected less by wind, and since it's small diameter, that's even improves the penetration even more. Now my quest was actually to find the most durable arrow, which I believe is the Full Metal Jacket arrows. And part of this test was shooting this arrow into a brick wall to help reinforce the arrow. See if we can see it. You can see a little bit. I put a little aluminum footing at the end because the part that's most likely to break when shot against something hard like a wall is the end. So I put a little aluminum footing at the end to improve the durability a little. Now let me show you my weapons of choice. This right here is a 55-pound recurve. This was given to me broken, and I was able to fix it, repair it, and works great for me, as good as new. So this was the first arrow, or sorry, the first bow in the test. Next I went, that's my wife's bow, 42-pound survival bow, but my bow next is a 65-pound takedown recurve. This is a Martin Hatfield recurve bow, one of my favorite bows to shoot off the shelf, instinctive shooting. Also in this test is actually my compound. Now this is an Eagle Unida, a beautiful compound. It's a hinged compound. This is set at 70 pounds. Beautiful bow, fast bow. It shoots, I think, about 220 feet per second. These heavier arrows, so really fast, puts a lot of power into those arrows. Great test for testing durability. Now let's get to the test. So to start off this test, I used the 55-pound recurve, a little slower, one of my lighter bows, and I thought an obvious choice for durability would be a rubber-tipped bludgeon point. Now these, I have two screw-in points right here, and this one just goes right over the shaft. You stick it in to hopefully increase the durability. Now starting with these, I thought, or with the 55-pound bow, these things survived. Was able to hit the brick wall, bounce off, did not cause any damage to the tip, and did not cause any damage to the arrow. I take that back. This was actually shot off a tree, and they were able to survive some stump shooting. But when I did shoot them against the brick wall from 20 yards away, these actually mushroomed. They collapsed, they broke. The arrows survived, but the tips did not. And I'm looking for a tip that can survive and also that can help the arrow survive. So these shot from 20 yards into a brick wall with a 55-pound recurve did not survive. They mushroomed. So these were already thrown out pretty early on in my testing. Next, I used the judo point. Now, the judo point, it penetrated the tree with a 55-pound recurve about half an inch. So it went in to these little prongs. I moved on to the brick wall. The tip broke. This thing bent, it broke. It looked like it was in pretty bad shape after hitting into the brick wall. So these didn't survive. Now, next, rolling around. Next I moved on to the steel blunts. If I keep that straight. So this is called a hammer, shaped like a hammer. Extends past the arrow, goes a little wide, and then this is a traditional steel blunt. Nothing fancy about it. Rolls around a lot. So I tested these two. Now the steel blunt, the traditional steel, the one on the right, it was able to survive. Bounced right off the tree, did not penetrate. Both arrow and tip survived. The hammer blunt penetrated the tree half an inch. So I moved on to the brick wall. Now the brick wall with the 55 pounds, the hammer tip bounced off the brick wall, no penetration there, but it actually cracked the end of the arrow. Now that is not something I like. I'd rather have a tip break than an arrow break, especially the full metal jackets, which are a little more expensive. And the hammer did not survive the test, or did not help the arrow survive the test. Now the steel blunt, the arrow actually did survive the test. The only thing I lost was the knock. The knock bounced right off, but the both arrow and tip survived, and the knock I was able to put right back on. So the steel blunt, this one right here, moved on to my 65-pound recurve. Shot that against the tree, and it penetrated 1 inch. So a little past the tip, and a little bit of the arrow went in. So I moved on to the brick wall, and the steel blunt cracked. This is with a 65-pound recurve. The steel point cracked the arrow, destroyed the arrow, making it unusable. Getting kind of frustrated because none of these tips, all these tips, claim to be durable, claim to survive stump shooting, but hitting a brick wall, they couldn't even do that. Just to show, this also is the end of the rubber tip that did not survive. In my frustration, I kind of got creative. Now I took a steel blunt like this one, and I combined it with the end of this, trying to hopefully increase the durability of the tip, and also to help it so that the arrow survives. So when I did this, the steel blunt and the rubber tip they actually survived. So with this little thing, move those out of the way, this little thing helped the arrow and the tip survive without any damage after hitting a brick wall, which was awesome. I was finally got a good result. Obviously you see that I have an adder point on here, but so this tip survived. Now with this tip I actually moved on to the 70-pound compound Eagle Oneida bow, and like all the other tips, it broke. When it hit the brick wall, the end of the arrow mushroomed. The tip actually the steel tip penetrated through the rubber, destroying both the tip and the arrow. In frustration, none of these specialized blunts worked to help an arrow and tip survive a brick wall. A little side note, I also tried, if you look, this is actually an broadhead adapter that you can screw in and I tried this alone, hopefully to help us survive. Now this actually did better than I thought it was. This is an aluminum head. If you look close, or if it zooms, if I can focus pretty good, you see that it did crack the footing and crack the arrow when it did hit the brick wall, and this is with the 65-pound recurve. So nothing is working. In my frustration, I just decided to get some arrows, and I'd shot traditional field tips. These field tips, obviously you can see have an adder point on there. These field tips survived. There is, as you can see, a little bit of damage. This is a Crimson turbine field tip. It has these little grooves to help it spin, help the arrow spin in the air. A little bit of damage, a little mushroom, but arrow survived. This actually penetrated a little bit the brick wall, but this survived. Put it to a grinder and it's gonna be as good as new. Same with this traditional field tip, nothing fancy about it. A little bit of mushroom at the end, penetrated a little. Both arrow and tip survived though. When it penetrates a little, I realized that this takes up a lot of kinetic energy, so energy is not going back into the arrow, destroying the arrow. The most durable field tips turns out to be the most basic. The original ones with a little point on them turned out to be the most durable. Well, that's my little report. Thank you for listening, and we'll tune in next time. Bye.